I'll read. So, title of the video is a specific dog strategy that was posted on the Discord server by, and I don't really want to embarrass people, but it's many thanks to BizPop70. I loaded the strategy up a couple of days back once BizPop posted it, and I'm just sharing my results because I think somebody mentioned that they'd ran some. I think they had run it and it was in the red. Whereas I'm getting the opposite. Mine's in the green. However, I did make a couple of changes, so I just wanted to go through the strategy in a bit more detail. I have just noticed in the Discord server that BizPops replied and said something to do with the recoveries dependent, the number of losses dependent on how much you want to lose or how much you're prepared to lose. So I'll just run through what I've changed in case people are finding it's not going as well. But I think it's a cracking little strategy, and I appreciate it for posting it. It's the kind of thing I want to see in the Discord server. I would just make a note that I probably will split it up, and I think it was Johnny who asked for the channel in the first place, which was a really good idea. I'm just conscious there's a lot of the same out there, and I will be covering some of that. There's other servers with a lot more interaction and a lot more channels. But obviously then you run the risk of getting lost within all the sort of noise. However, at the minute, I'm just going to go through this one strategy and just show you what I've done to, well, make it work for the minute. I've only been running it 2 days, so there's a little disclaimer. It's won 29 out of 58 bets, and it's 50% strike rate. And I have only been putting 10 pence on, and you can see there's even been a few today. Oh, one thing as well. Apologies if there's much noise. I'm actually sat outside. I'm on the campsite at the moment in the camper bus, and it's far too hot. The sun's come out for some reason. It's been like pissing down for like 2 weeks, and now the sun's decided to come out. So I'm absolutely lathered here. It's the first day of heat's always the worst, isn't it? Until you get acclimatized to it. So I can just say it's matched another one there. So we've had one losing bet, and it's just matched another one. What's that in the 11:46 at Henlow, so that'll be over by the time we finish recording this video. In fact, I'll leave it on that screen for a little bit. So you can see we're $6.96 in profit at the moment. Actually, I'll have to go off the screen to show you some of the things I've changed. So I just wanted to go through the strategy. So basically, it's betting on the favourite if the favourite's 15% better price than the second favourite, and that's in these rules here. I have added this for anybody who's interested in unsettled markets, because what I did find was, if I just go back to the bets for a second, if I go down and find a losing streak, this is probably the best place to find this scenario. But basically, because we're betting on any track, you can see all different tracks down the left hand side here. Races can be like 1 or 2 minutes after each other. Like just a few minutes. So you might get like the 1858 at Doncaster, and then you might end up seeing a bet like the 1901 at somewhere else, for example. I can't see many that are close together, but there will be some further down, because there's a 10 pence bet there. So you can see we lost 10 pence there, and it's obviously placed. So it's placed that 10 pence bet there. It lost that one, and then it's placed that 29 pence bet there based on that loss. But in the meantime, before this first one had settled, it's already placed that bet as well, a -10. And that's because there's unsettled markets before it, taking a while to settle, even though they're quite a distance apart. If you remember at Perry Bar, we had it for that one track. Even when we were doing it on one track, we had a problem with it unsettling. So yeah, all I've done there is add that rule to say that all previous bets must be settled first before we place the next bet. You might miss the odd bet or two, but honestly it is beneficial because it won't get its knickers in a twist. If I go in, you can see I've set that to 1. And if I go into the plus sign here to go to market conditions and have a look at unsettled bets description, that explains it probably a little bit better than I'm explaining it, if you're still a bit confused. I don't know if I clicked on that or not. This is running really slow on my VPS. I'm running from a mobile data, which is in the van still. And I'm sitting out in an awning. So I'm outside. The data's inside, and it's not the best of data in any case. So if I go to the bottom of this list here, so if you can see I've got market conditions selected here. if I go right to the bottom, because these rules are in alphabetical order, unsettled markets will be now at the bottom. I think it's the last one, actually. Yeah, so we've got unsettled markets there. So as you can see, there's a tick in there. That means I've got the rules set, or the strategy has a rule set. It's not my strategy. Apologies for that. You can see where the ticks are. That means these rules are set in the strategy. So the description here is: allow betting only when all previous bets are settled. Helps staking plans get correct staking sequence, as it prevents betting until all previous bets are settled. I think for something like this, when you're betting on the dogs and you're betting on every single track, I do think that's a must. Unless anybody wants to disagree, which is fine. But I have put that in because of the dodgy sequence that was appearing on losing bets. So I don't think I've changed anything else on here. So if we go to selection conditions, I don't think I've changed anything else on there. One thing I will mention about the strategy, those top two look exactly the same rules. So I don't know if that's a mistake, or I can't see why it's there for any specific reason. It's the same thing. Again, if you want to discuss this in Discord server, I'm hoping this video is going to prompt some feedback. Again, I think one of those could be taken out. And also, I wouldn't have expected any favourite to be under 12. But it's a good idea to have that in anyway, because some people might want to raise that to 2.0. So you're not backing on odds on, because when you're backing on the odds on, you're winning less than what you actually placed. Well, yeah, your profit is. So if you put a £1 bet on, you might only be winning 80 pence profit back. Again, that might be fine, but then again, you might think, well, it's not worth putting winning bets on those ones because you're not getting as much back. But it's good to have that in, because then you can just change the numbers here rather than have to create a rule. Again, can I just stress, none of this is any criticism of the strategy. I'm actually absolutely delighted and so grateful for somebody actually posting stuff like this on the Discord server in the first place. And don't take any of my discussion as any criticism whatsoever. It's just hopefully a bit of feedback, or constructive feedback. Even I might be wrong, because I've only been doing this sort of 6 months to 8 months anyway. I was going to say a year there. I've been using Betfair Bot Manager just over a year, but mainly I started just on football. So the dogs is pretty new to me as well. So yeah, I might be wrong anyway, and just hopefully it'll provoke some discussion on Discord or on the comments on this video. Level stake was 10 pence and recovery at 100%. And liability used, I'm neither for nor against that, but that's why it doesn't go from like 10 pence, 20 pence, 40 pence, 80 pence. You're not trying to recover your back bet stake. It's being based on liability. And again, I haven't changed that. I've just left it as it is. Might be useful to know the reasoning or thought process behind that. That's why you don't see sort of what that basically means is you're trying to recover the liability of the bet rather than the back, so the lay side of it. So let's get this right way around. If the odds are lower, then you'll be putting a higher stake on, back stake, and then if the odds are higher, then you'll be putting a lower back stake on to recover. After bet rules is nothing in there, and then safety rules I have changed. This was set to 3, and I noticed on the description of the strategy it said 6, but it was actually set to 3. So I'm assuming BizPop 70 maybe got to 6 and lost too much money, so they changed it down to 3. I've actually upped it to 8, and in 2 days the highest we've had is 4 consecutive losses. 8 might be too much for people. I totally get that. It's going to be based on how much you're prepared. I think when we lost 4 in a row, the back stake got to was about £2 odd, but that was up from 10 pence. I think £2.64. But that would have meant if it was a £1 starting stake as opposed to 10 pence starting stake, then if you wanted to scale this, you'd be looking at say a £1 stake instead of 10 pence, which means you £2.64 bet on the 5th bet after 4 consecutive losses. The 5th bet was £2.64. That would be about £26.40. So you've got to bear that in mind. So that's totally subjective. One thing I am going to do with this data is I'm going to put it through the staking machine. So I want to make another shout out to somebody on Discord server, Johnny, who recommended the staking machine. To be honest, I had briefly looked at it a while back after I started using Betfair Bot Manager, but I didn't dismiss it out of hand, but I certainly forgot about it. So thanks to Johnny for reigniting that one. I've gone in and had a look, and I've signed up to it. And just one thing to mention, I'm not sure, and again, this is probably going to raise discussions or not arguments. I hope it doesn't raise arguments, but my understanding of what I read some time ago when I first started this Betfair trade and stuff is to always test your strategies on a level stake, and if they're losing at that point, then I don't think any kind of stake and plan or recovery strategy will circumvent that loss. It's still going to be a losing strategy. Like this one down here, for example, you see the dog forecast layer where I'm putting a penny on every dog at level stakes. It's 533 down. I don't think I could put those 1,300 bets into the staking machine and get a profitable scenario. Now, let me know if you think I'm wrong, and I'll probably try it, because I am going to do a video or two on the staking machine to show you how it works, because I did sign up to it about a week ago, but I haven't really used it yet. I signed up to the web version because I thought it would be better to run on a Mac or anything, or a Chromebook. But as it turns out, the first restriction on the web version was only being I think you can only load 4,000 or 5,000 bets into it. Which probably sounds like a lot. It's probably enough, but it just so happened I had about 6,000 I wanted to load in, so I had to chop the list down. And I didn't know I actually took it off the oldest results, but it's just a bit of a limitation. So I don't know if the only other version they do is a Windows version. But anyhow, we'll do a video on staking machine, and I will be putting these results through the staking machine. And it allows you, basically, for those who don't know it, and I'll put a link in the description for that as well, but I will, like I say, do a full-on video about it. It allows you to put these 60 results into the staking machine, and then it allows you to select different staking plans and recovery plans, and it shows you how much you would have made, how much profit you would have made, or how much loss you would have made based on the actual results you've had. Obviously, it's still a historic thing. It's no guarantee for the future, like any sort of stocks and shares or trading. But it does give you an idea of how you could maximize your profit. I think that's the key there, maximizing your profit. I don't think it can turn a losing strategy into a winning strategy. Although some people might argue and say, like, if you're doing 100% recovery, then you're only down as far as your next win. So you're only like losing money. You're profitable as soon as you've hit your next win. But what if that next win never comes, is the issue. I mean, we've seen it before where you think, like this one, 8 consecutive losses, that will happen. It's guaranteed to happen at some point. It might be a lot further down the line than somebody who's running 3 or 4 consecutive losing bets, but it will happen. It's as clear as night and day. It will happen. It just might take longer. It might be a week. It might be a month. It might be unlucky. It might be tomorrow. It might be today. It might be next year. You don't know. You could go 32 consecutive losing streaks. Bets, your back bet would be horrendously high, but as long as you've got the bankroll and the balls and the money to do it, and you're prepared to lose that money, 32 in a row do lose, then that's fine. But again, 32 will happen. I think I'll find a link for that. I think it was I can't remember the site now, but there was something about the roulette, red and black, about how many times in a row it happened. I think it was about 32 or 38 times in a row it happened. Try and find a link for that, because it's interesting reading for these recovery plans. I'm not keen on them myself. I prefer the sort of scalping where you're just taking like 10 or 20%. I'm going to come on to some strategies like that on football, which I'm doing at the moment. I'm testing. Anyhow, back to this one. I've changed that as well. This was a maximum profit of, I think it was £1.50 and a maximum loss of £5. Didn't really get the £1.50, if I'm being honest. And again, it might be down to your budget or your risk on how much you want to risk. I've never really applied this rule, which is probably my gung-ho attitude. I've never really applied this screen to any of my strategies, so it's interesting to see what other people are doing. And it's sort of, so this one was pausing it if you'd lost £1. Sorry, if you'd made £1.50 or lost £5. I don't think I changed that £5. I can't 100% remember now. But I've upped it to £25 because obviously I'm doing 8 consecutive losses, so I need to make that higher than £1.50. And maximum loss £5. I just need to have a check of that to see if I would ever breach that. I think I've breached that before the 8 consecutive losses, to be honest with you, so it'll probably pause before it restarts. Just for the simple fact, if we go back to the betting list, and that's all I've changed on the strategy. So as you can see, it's if I'd been starting with £1, that would be £71 profit in 2 days, which is nothing to be sniffed at. However, you would need to times these losses and wins by 10 as well if I was starting with £1 instead of 10 pence. So you can see that so there we had 4 consecutive losses, albeit 2 were 10 pence because of the stake and sequence. We put a £2.3 bet on there, £2.03. So we won £1.64 because it was odds of 1.81. So we won back less than what we staked, profit wise. But you can see the loss recovery here, how much it's trying to recover. So it's trying to recover 193 there. If I go down a bit, because I think there's another 4 consecutive losses at least, because I think that'll be a higher stake, because at 10 pence, 2 10 pences there skewing it a bit. Alright, so there's another one there. Yeah, so 264. I thought I'd seen that somewhere. So you can see 10 pence, 31 pence, 96 pence lost, 133. And by the 5th bet, we were putting £2.64 on. So it is kind of, sort of doubling. That trebled there. That trebled from 10 pence to 31. That trebled. That didn't treble at all, but that's because the odds is higher. And then the odds is higher again there, so that doubled. So you probably, after 8 bets, you might be putting 20 quid on. I haven't worked it all out. But you see on the 5th bet we put £2.64 on, and we got our recovery of £3.38, so then we just go back to 10 pence again. I'll just go back to the top and see if that last one won. We should be able to see from the numbers. I can't remember what. Oh yeah, we're up to £7.16 now. This is just so slow with the phone being indoors. Come on. Oh no, I lost. Oh no, that's another race after. So it did win. That was the one there, the 11.46 at Henlow. So you can see that one won, so we won 30 pence. And then it's gone back to 10 pence, and that one lost. So the next one, depending on the odds of the next bet, the back bet will be put on. Yeah, so I'm going to build this up. I just wanted to report because I think somebody somebody on Discord server mentioned that they were in the red. But I know BizPop70 put another strategy on about Australian dogs, and I've never really touched them. I think I did about sort of 8 months ago when I first started. I was putting some ridiculous bets on every single dog race, like a penny, and that included UK, US, and Australian market. So I've never really touched the Australian market since. So I will have a look at that one in due course as well. What I'm planning on doing with this one is letting the amount of bets build up. I'll probably try and get a couple of hundred, I think 250 to 500 bets, and then put them through the staking machine. I might actually do a small video before that on the staking machine showing you how to put them in and how to look at all the different results and things like that, because it'll be interesting on a small data set, but it won't be conclusive because obviously it's not big enough. The more bets, the better, so variance can sort of wangle its way through. So the variance is more level, and because obviously if you've only got a few bets on, the variance is going to be potentially wildly out. But that's it for now for that one. Thanks very much for the participation to all the lads and hopefully lasses in the Discord server. It's much appreciated, and I'm finding it really interesting reading people's comments and ideas and stuff. And I know this was a Discord server member's strategy. If you stay tuned for the next video or two, I'm going to bring you some of my own. And then once I've done a video on them, I'll upload them to the Discord server so you can use them yourselves. So if you like the content and you want to be part of that, then please click the subscribe button, because it will help me get a few more subscribers. And like the video, and you'll be informed of when the next one becomes available. Okay, thanks for watching. Cheers now. See you in the next one. Bye.